following family, and I'll let him fill in the rest of that story. So thank you for joining us, Dr.
I
Kopp.
appreciate it. I'm going to stand behind here. So, I am Dave Kopp. Thank you very much for having me. Sally, thanks for your neighbor getting your ear. They invited me to come speak about a month ago, and I gladly accepted. Got a nice bunch of smiling faces in here. I have been in the military for most of my life. Yes, most of my life. 27 years is what I usually say. I was telling Sally, it's kind of a trick question. How long have I been in the military? Well, the Air Force, as far as real-time served, 23 years. If you add in my medical school, which was done through the Air Force, which counts now that I've retired for something, 27 years. But I went to the Air Force Academy before it all started, so it's 31 years. So it's always a trick question. It's fun to answer. So I've been pretty much doing medicine for quite some time. I've loved it, and things have changed quite a bit throughout the time. And one of the things I like to talk about when I talk about surgery and medicine and how things really changed over this time frame, one of the things I like talking about is, what are those changes? What are the three things that I saw change? And that's what I was going to talk about today. So I got here at behest of my brother-in-law, who was a surgeon, worked down in Hampton Roads, and he said, you need to come out here when you retire. And we're looking for surgeons in this area to replace some of the surgeons who are leaving. And I said, well, let me look into it. So I came out here about a year and a half ago, looked at Sonterra in Williamsburg, and met the practice and said, yeah, I can come here. This looks like a wonderful place, beautiful community. And then I up and signed a contract, get out here, park my car, the house we bought, and about 2 weeks before that, my brother jumped ship and takes off for Wisconsin. Starting a new career, so I'm still happy to be here. This is a wonderful place. But looking at medicine, how has it really changed? One of the big things as far as surgery goes is things have gotten smaller. Now it's the smaller the better. Now what I mean by that is, I don't know how many people have had a gallbladder surgery a long, long time ago. But I swear I've seen some of the incisions that were made that start here and end up over here. And just to get out a little gallbladder, which is about the size of a little hacky sack ball. In the start of my training, I actually saw some of the first video laparoscopic gallbladder surgeries done in the military. Actually, I saw the first one done at Wilford Hall Medical Center back when I was in medical school, doing a rotation down there, and that was done in San Antonio. So we have gotten smaller in our incisions, and it's even gotten to the point where we're using robots in some cases doing some of our surgeries. For some of the general surgical stuff, it helps. It's not always as effective, but I know for prostates, that's one area where they're doing robots for the prostates and getting very good results. I don't know, has anyone seen what they're called Da Vinci robots? Has anyone seen what they look like? Yeah. It's amazing. You actually are sitting at a console while you're operating. You go and set up the machine on your patient and put in the trocars, which will get you inside the abdomen, and then you're sitting at a console doing the surgery, like you're sitting in front of a video game.
Wow.
And they have actually, there's a video you can actually pull up on I think it's on YouTube, and watch them using the Da Vinci robot folding a little paper airplane or paper macrame. It's very interesting watching them do this. And then they pan out, and you realize that's doing it on the head of a penny.
Wow.
You know, we're doing things a lot smaller, and it has helped the patients. I have learned, I think I was pretty good at video games, so I kind of started doing surgery, learning how to do video surgery. And most of my surgery is done using video surgery at the hospital here. We take out colons using video surgery. We take out gallbladders, repair hernias, do anti-reflux operations, try to help with heartburn. So there's a lot of things we can do with video surgery. There's people going to the point of actually taking it out through natural orifices. So think about having your gallbladder done without an external incision. Having them go through your mouth, make an incision in your stomach, getting inside your belly, and then going to take out the gallbladder. They haven't quite perfected that yet. It kind of scares me to think about some of that. Now, they have used other orifices as well. I'll let you guys...
Thank you.
It tastes better using the other end.
imagine what that would be, but it is. They're trying to stretch the limits on the amount or the least amount of trauma that can be done to a person to relieve them of their surgical problems. Now, this isn't really medicine or surgical related, but another change has been the directed biological therapies that we have out there. I know a lot of people are aware that President Carter had melanoma, and he actually had metastatic melanoma. He had some tumors in his brain, right? And he went on this new medication that's biological. Most of them are things that I can't pronounce, names. They all finish with an AB. And what they are is they're directed therapies. They take cells, they take genetic markers, ways to get drugs that will enter the body, go find tumor cells, they'll go find abnormal cells of different sorts, and attack them. In Jimmy Carter's case, they think he's doing very well with his melanoma. We were go back 10 years in the past, that was a death sentence. There was nothing we could do. Or you could try some interferon therapies or therapies that were just, almost the therapy was worse than having the disease in and of itself. So it really has changed things. For Crohn's disease, it's an inflammatory state of the bowel. For about the past decade, I've not really operated on too many people with Crohn's disease. And one of the things we used to run into was people with Crohn's disease would get one surgery, and then they would develop more problems with other parts of their colon, they get another surgery. And pretty soon you've done so many surgeries, you've taken out so much intestine that they don't have enough to digest food. They have to go get IV food to supplant themselves. It's gotten to the point now where some of these drugs, one of them is called Remicade, has actually taken surgeons really out of the mix. We really don't have to operate on a lot of people with Crohn's disease, and these medications can control a lot of the problems with that. You see commercials all the time with these things. Enbrel, treatment of the plaque psoriasis. There's big money in this. That's why you see it on every commercial. I don't think you can watch a sporting event without at least one or two commercials coming on telling you about some of the biologicals that are out there. I've visited one or two of the places where they make these. It's incredible what they have to go through to develop these, but they're finding that they make it for one thing and they can be effective for another. That's kind of how they happened upon how it was effective with melanoma. And then really the third big change, that has been a big change over this time. The third big change started really about the time I started being a surgeon. Was in '99, a book called To Err is Human came out. Has anyone heard about that book?
What was it?
To Err is Human.
Oh yeah. It was Yogi Berra said that.
Yogi Berra may have said that, but this was talking about medicine. So the Institute of Medicine came out with this report and said in 1999 that we kill about 100,000 people a year literally, by mistakes that are made within hospitals. And it was a big thing, and a really big thing, to actually have people come out and say that. And a lot of people were offended in the medical community, and they said, we got to make a change. So they went back about 5 years later and said, let's revisit this. How have we done? They didn't see a change. Actually, they thought things got worse even. You kind of look at some of the paperwork, and I think they dug a little deeper and found more things. But really, over the last 15 years, there's been a lot of things that have changed as far as trying to make this the most safest thing for anybody that comes into the hospital. Medication errors, they're very easy to make. We use the electronic medical record. It helps with that, doesn't eliminate them. They use barcode scanning nowadays. Helps, doesn't eliminate all those. Surgery. Before every surgery, let's say, Jason, you were having your knee operated on or something like that. What are the things that I'm going to worry about? I'm going to worry about
Which knee?
which knee?
How comes the marker?
Well, actually, which body part first, then which knee, then the right person. So we do what's called a universal pause. Now, this is the World Health Organization came up with this, and they actually defined it for a lot of places. And Santerra is one group that's taken it and adjusted it. We don't want to do a wrong site surgery. We don't want to do wrong patient surgery. We don't want to administer a medication that they're allergic to. So as part of this checklist, we do a little, I call it a song and a dance. It's actually quite serious. The OR quiets down. We were talking about music in the operating room and how some people jam to hard rock music, and other people, almost everyone listens to music in the operating room. The music turns off. We start talking. Okay, I have Jason sitting here on the table. He's a pleasant 30-year-old gentleman who is allergic to this. He's here. His consent form says we're going to fix his right knee. Not correct, right. Okay. And this is what we're planning on doing. We have administered his antibiotics. This is a big thing. We want to make sure we're going to give antibiotics, we give it right. And then we continue on. This is the plan of the surgery. And then after surgery, we're going to say, okay, this was Jason, we did this. We fixed his knee, this is the specimens we had. Any concerns? Is he going to wake up just fine? And we make sure that everything goes smoothly with the patient. Now, that's part of patient involvement. We get a little patient involvement before we even put them to sleep as part of this. It's a big change in how things were 30, 40 years ago. 30, 40 years ago, if I were your surgeon, I'd say, hey, Jason, let's go back and fix that knee. And we get back there, and if anyone were to pipe up to me and say, Doc, you're not supposed to be operating on his left elbow, it's his right knee. I don't know how many times this happened before, but nowadays, everyone's supposed to have a voice. And everyone's supposed to talk and say, hey, this is what we need to do. So I think we are getting better. I know every time we make a mistake, any type of mistake, we let people know. We don't celebrate it, of course, it's a mistake. But we don't want to say say we give a wrong dose of a medication. We want to make sure that patient knows, hey, we gave you this. We weren't meant to do that. Then we go and say, how did that happen? Where was the problem? It wasn't because of my nurse gave the wrong medication. Was it the order? Was it how it was read? Was it distraction? Was it something with how the order was written with the doctor? And then we fix it so that it doesn't happen again. So that's really one of the big things that I think has changed. I know we go through a lot of training to try to eliminate mistakes. And I used to be head of Travis Air Force Base's hospital. I was a deputy, I wasn't the head of it. But as a deputy, that was my way of fixing that hospital, just doing the safety bit. So 3 things that change. Smaller is better. Yeah. for a patient coming in, if I can do an incision, 2 or 3 this small, eliminate your problem, you're a lot happier than this incision, even though they both heal about the same. Those targeted therapies, they do work. It's amazing what they have done. And pretty soon we may get to the point where the combination of everything we can do, the Dr. McCoy little thing that we put over the body that fixes stuff, maybe that might come. And then really safety. And that's a big deal. And I consider it very big in my realm. But does anyone have any questions? Oh, good. Great.
Yeah, just to comment, I had knee replacement surgery 9 months ago down at Centera's Joint Orthopedic Hospital.
Yes.
And while I'm in the prep room, not yet in La La Land, the doc came in and talked to me and said, what are we doing? And I said, you're replacing my left knee. He gave me the magic marker, and I actually initialed that knee in front of him so that when they wheeled me in there and I couldn't talk, everybody in the room, in theory, would recognize that's the knee. Yeah, so he made me do it myself, is my point.
I like that idea. I usually have my patients tell me what I'm going to operate on and point to it for me and make sure I'm right in the right spot. But yes, that's a great way to do it. Yes, sir.
First thing, it's a good thing you know your left from your right. You talk about the changes. How has the Affordable Care Act changed surgery in like 2 or 3 sentences?
Yeah.
Actually, the changes are really going to be felt over the next few years. It has started, but for the most part, the biggest thing is a transition from amount to quality. They say quantity is not as important as the quality care that we can give. How that will transpire over time is going to be hard to tell, but I have not seen too many changes yet. I think it's going to be coming over the next few years, and a lot of your hospital systems are going to feel that pretty significantly.
Good or bad? Plus or minus?
The people that are ready for it, it'll be okay. I think the people that are used to the way things have always been and try to hold on to that are going to be in trouble. And I think Santerra is making a good strides towards making the change into the quality of provided care. Yeah.
In the old days, when you had an incision, you either got staples or stitches. Nowadays, is everyone getting glued back together again? And is that working?
I think everyone's getting glued. Even if I make an incision nowadays, I'm using glue for the most part. Yeah. I'm going to go kind of keep it in order here.
I noticed since you've been here, Centera now is in the top 100, so I'm assuming that's because you're with us now.
Yeah. Just say yes.
Yes. Definitely. Yeah, they made it. So, yes, sir.
Question I had was, I understand in the medical profession now, the doctors are actually admitting if they made a mistake that they're telling the patient the mistake was made.
Yes, sir.
Has that been effective in cutting down lawsuits?
The thought is that it can be. Most of it is just your communication with your patient. If your patient is, if you have a relationship with your patient and you tell them what's going on and say, yeah, I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to do this, but this happened to you, you're much less inclined to go through the lawsuit if you're on the other side where you're not telling your patient, they find out about it and go, wait a second, why does my pinky finger no longer work? If that's what it was that caused the problem, or that problem resulted of it. But yeah.
I wonder if there's been a study and any numbers published. I haven't seen anything yet.
They have actually studied it and found that there is quite a lot less lawsuits if you do talk to your patients. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So you were talking about some of these like biogenetic oncology drugs that are now starting to hit the marketplace. With that, plus the advances in surgical techniques and just kind of where medicine is going as a science, what do you expect, maybe your humble opinion, what do you expect, mortality rates to look like in 20 or 30 years? Because at the same time, we're dealing with like obesity epidemics and younger kids. Is all this stuff going to balance it out? And we're still going to die around 85?
That's going to be a
Wait and see.
really tough questions. If you can figure out a cure for obesity or something to stay off the current trends, that would be easy. That would be nice. You'd probably be a billionaire.
Yeah.
They've tried a lot of things. It seems like even the medications that do work, you even go back all the way to fen. It worked very well. People lost weight. Then they all of a sudden started having problems with pulmonary hypertension, and people were dying because of these drugs. So,
But at least they were thin.
yeah.
Made a good looking corpse.
So yes, it has made a big difference, and it'll probably continue. Will it decrease mortality? I think for certain disease processes, yes. Will we start seeing other problems down the road? Possibly. And that's always a concern anytime you have this magic bullet. What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
What's the trade-off? We don't always know that. Well, thanks.
All right, so that was the infamous hook I was telling you
There
about.
we go.
Thank you so much. That was
Thank you.
great. That was great. So we had,
Appreciate you having me.
now,